You are watching New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshal Green. We're about to get into a mailbag, which aired on our live show every Wednesday about 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central Time. So subscribe and turn your notifications on so you can catch us when we go live. The only way to get your question answered is if you're a subscriber. So if you bleed blue and orange or orange and blue and you love the Knicks, hit that big red button right now. This first one coming in from Luke C. So where does IQ fit in this situation? I think he's going to be the first player off the bench this year for the New York Knicks. I think it's going to be Immanuel Quickley. Ian Begley put out a piece last week that he has heard that Immanuel Quickley is expected to have a bigger role. Luke, I did a video yesterday on the channel breaking down that report. Check it out. I think Quickley's going to have a big year. He just needs to be more consistent. He's kind of a streaky shooter, and sometimes in the NBA that's a problem, but we've seen the potential from IQ. He could be a walking 25-point bucket, but he also could be a guy that can go through stretches of shooting 25% from three. When he's hot, he's really good. It's year 3 now for Quickley. He's just got to be a consistent basketball player, and I think that's in the cards this year. Less of a needed production from him. I think he's going to have a big year this year. Tricky Nicky, let's talk Knicks, my guy. He said, thanks for making Wednesdays better once again. Thank you for joining the show. As always, you're a real one. Type real one in the comments if you are one. He says, question is Grimes never included in the deal by NY, but RJ was. So does that tell you, Seep, anything? I think it does, Seeps. I think the fact that you were willing to include RJ Barrett over Quentin Grimes tells you that this front office has a big picture and a big expectation for Quentin Grimes to be a good basketball player.
Yeah, I think Quentin Grimes, prototypical NBA player nowadays, he fits the 3-and-D perfectly. Obviously, I don't think this is the front office telling you they value Quentin Grimes more than RJ Barrett, but I do think Quentin Grimes is that guy. They're always just a little like, God, he has so much potential. I don't want to just give him up to a Utah Jazz and see him develop into this great player.
Yeah, and I think you're right there, Tricky Nicky. If you're not going to include him in a Donovan Mitchell trade, you better frickin' start him. You better make him a big plan of your rebuild and retool in your long-term future. You have to include him in the starting lineup and continue for him to be a guy that needs big minutes. Because, look, if you weren't willing to trade him for Donovan frickin' Mitchell, he needs to be a big part of this team going forward. $50 super chat from my guy, Charles Palmos, a legend here at New York Knicks Now. Charles, thank you. I appreciate you. You are a freaking GOAT. He says, Grimes would be a better fit for the starting lineup, but Cam has the better upside than him. And remember, guys, Thibs is coaching the team. I want you to pop in for this one, Seeps. Let's talk about this one for a little bit. I think you're right that Cam has the better upside, but what is potential if it's never reached, right? We're going into year 4. We've seen flashes of Cam Reddish. Remember the Eastern Conference Finals against the Atlanta Hawks? Shot like 70% from 3. Produced in a pressure-packed moment in meaningful basketball games. But can Cam Reddish reach his true potential as the 4th ball handler on an offense in a starting lineup that features Brunson, Barrett, and Julius Randle? I think he's just better suited right now at this stage of his career to come off the bench and be a guy that kind of dominates the ball.
And, hey, Charles, I think the point you made, remember, guys, Thibs is coaching this team.
Yes.
You talk about prototypical Thibs guys, it's Quentin Grimes. You talk about guys that Thibs wouldn't get along with, it's probably Cam Reddish, a guy who is kind of not all about himself, but he's very throw the ball to him. He's got to go make a move to get a kind of a backyard basketball type of player. When Quentin Grimes, 3-and-D, nose to the ground, playing defense, that's everything Thibs wants. We were talking about it earlier, maybe a Jimmy Butler, maybe Thibs sees Jimmy in Quentin Grimes. I think that's a great little keynote that you made, Charles.
And also remember, Tom Thibodeau pushed really hard to go draft Quentin Grimes.
Yes.
And he wasn't a fan and wasn't on board with the Cam Reddish trade. That was a trade made by the front office. They went against Thibodeau's word. Not saying that Reddish isn't going to have minutes. I want him to get minutes. I want him to be a guy that comes off the bench and gets to put the rock in his hand and go create and get some ISO and push the pace, because we all agree on this channel that he has potential. Some think it's really, really high. Some think he can be a really good player. I think he just needs a chance to be able to do it. I think coming off the bench is the best chance for him. Charles, Thanks for being a freaking real one, my guy. Be like Charles and subscribe to New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports, because we put out videos every single day on the latest Knicks news and rumors, and we're only going to continue to do more and more videos. Training camp's around the corner. The season's less than a month away. We're going to be doing live post-game shows on the channel. So if you're looking for a channel to rock out with throughout the season, we're your guys. Hit that big red button and be a real one. OG with a $20 super chat. My guy, what up, bro? He said if we need to, we can move Randle by the All-Star break. I think he'll have a better season. Rose will be the voice we need off the bench, and RJ will show growth with Brunson at the point. I agree with absolutely everything that you said, OG. I kind of agree with you. I think they want to see what Randle can be with Jalen Brunson and see if he's a guy that can get the most out of Julius Randle. This franchise values value. They don't want to make a move just for the sake of making a move. They're only going to make said move if they deem it as valuable for the team now and going forward. Let Randle play. Let him rebuild that value, because his value right now is at an all-time low. If there was a trade right now that the Knicks deemed as valuable for Randle, they would have made it. And I agree with what you said. Let him play his value up. If a trade becomes available at the All-Star break because he started to play better, then you can make it. And I also think he will have a better season. He gets to play with a real point guard. And I'm right there with you. Derrick Rose, this might sound crazy. He is the vocal leader of this team. Immanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, they've talked about how much that Derrick Rose has been an influence on their game and the way that they've been able to evolve. And I also agree with what you said at the end. RJ will show growth with Brunson at the point. Check, 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 check. Everything you said gets Marshal's stamp of approval, and you're a real one. Shout out to you, bro.
Shout out to OG. I agree with everything you said, especially about D Rose. If you guys
Derrick Rose!
Drop a Rose in the comments right now. If you guys saw Marshall's video yesterday, D Rose playing at 195. Something to keep your eyes on right now.
The quote was, "This is the healthiest I have been in a long time." Doesn't mean he's going to go back and throwing down monster dunks and windmills.
Listen.
But if you can get 65, 70 games out of Derrick Rose this year, who was the engine of this offense when the Knicks were the 4th seed, best player on the team in the playoffs, that's going to help a lot of players on this team. Drop a Rose in the comment section.
Shout out to D Rose.
Shout out Derrick Rose. If you know the rest, you can fill it in the comment section. Steven Vargas, how do you maintain a winning culture when there's a lot of losing? That is a great question. And I host our Giants channel here at Chat Sports. And someone said, rebuilding doesn't always mean losing. And I couldn't agree with that more. Because to win ball games, you have to learn how to win. And you don't learn how to win by losing ball games. And that's the way and the mindset and the outlook that this franchise's front office currently has. I don't really agree with it, but this is what they want to do. They want to build for the future while also winning now. That is a very hard thing to do. It's the hardest thing to do in all of the sports. Build for the future and build to win now. It's really hard, but if you do it right, it can be successful. The Golden State Warriors have done it. Probably not the team you want to try to mock and recreate what they bring to the table, because they've truly had one of the most dynastic runs in NBA history, but you can't maintain a winning culture when there's a lot of losing. That's why the Knicks want to win ball games. So Grimes knows how to win. So Barrett knows how to win. So Quickley and Toppin and Robinson. So those guys can learn how to win. You have to learn to win ball games if you want to implement a winning culture. Steven Vargas, great question. Charles, what up, fam? What makes you think Grimes is a good backup from just seeing one season from him? I don't think, honestly, I think he fits better as a starter, because I don't think he's at the point of his career where he can just go get the ball and get a bucket. I think he needs solid point guard play. And I think having Brunson by him and being a guy in Grimes that can just run off screens and be catch and shoot players, I think that fits his style a little better. And that's why I think Reddish and Fournier fit a little bit better off the bench, because they can get more opportunities. They can get more on-ball shots. They can get more dribble time and a higher usage rate off the bench. Quentin Grimes doesn't need that. And if you have him come off the bench as just a catch-and-shoot guy that can't really create his own shot, not saying he can't, I think he can. He's got to get there. I just think he fits way better as a starter. And I don't really know if he's really a guy that I want coming off the bench, because he plays the best perimeter defense on this team, And he's a guy that's just a freaking worker. That's why I think in a lineup where you got Brunson, Barrett, and Randle, 3 ball-dominant guys, that last guy next to Mitchell Robinson has to be cool with just being a guy that plays his tail off on defense and taking the occasional open shot when it comes. That's why I think Quentin Grimes is best to come off. That's why I think Grimes is best to start, not come off the bench. Wireless, Knicks. Is Cam going to get a lot of minutes? He just isn't someone who fits this lineup. I think he'd be in the Julius trade. I think if the Lakers make a trade for Julius Randle, they're going to want Cam Reddish. There's been reports multiple times that Cam Reddish is a guy that is viewed valuable in the Lakers organization. Maybe because he's a Rich Paul client and Clutch Sports runs the Lakers, but I don't think he fits in the starting lineup, but I think he absolutely fits off the bench. The dude is 6'8". He's athletic. He can get to the cup. He's a tough shot taker and a tough shot maker. He's just got to get the minutes and the touches to be effective. And I think off the bench, he'll get that best opportunity. Dylan Rodriguez, Brunson, a top 10 point guard. I truly believe he's right around there. I think he's top 13, top 14. I really think he's going to prove a lot of Knicks fans wrong this season. People said he was an overpay. People think he's not that good. I think he's going to prove a lot of freaking people wrong this year. Name me another point guard that's dropped 40 points in the playoffs in a dub without their best player right beside him. I can't wait for Jalen Brunson to be a fan favorite in 6 months. It's going to be freaking awesome. I'll ask you guys this question. 39.5 wins for the New York Knicks this season. That's the Vegas betting line. Let me know what you're thinking. Type O for over, type U for under. Remember, this team won 37 games last year with Alec Burks as their primary starting point guard. I'll leave it up to you. Type O for over, U for under. Let me know what you think. Ralph, what up, bro? A real one. Fournier is overrated. Trade him for a first-round pick. He's overpaid for a 6-man type of level of player. I don't necessarily disagree. Shoot, man, you get a guy that shoots 40% from 3 and averages 15 points a night, and you're only paying him, you're paying him $18 million. That's a lot of money, no doubt, but, Fournier is a guy that can produce. He's a guy that can black out and get white hot and carry this team offensively. We saw that multiple times last year. I just think he is a 6-man. He might be a little overpaid as a 6-man. $18 million for a 6-man's a lot, but I'm not out on Fournier. I want to give him another year with a real point guard on this roster. I want to do that for a lot of people. Maybe I'm taking the easy way out, but I think Brunson's a guy that can really elevate the level of play for a lot of people on this roster. Last question on this mailbag. Shout out to Charles. I understand the stats of Randle when he's playing with a point guard, but what about the stats when he played with Rose in the playoffs? Very fair point. That's the reason why I don't trust Randle with a point guard. That is a very fair point, Charles. I just think Randle, he was emotionally done and cooked in that playoff series. He couldn't hit a shot. He kind of let his jumper and his success of his jumper dictate kind of the player that he was. And that's never what you want someone to do. You don't want someone that's starting to miss shots, let that affect the rest of their game. Look at Andrew Wiggins in the finals. He shot 33% from 3. But what did he do? He brought it even more on defense. He found ways to affect the ball game. That's what we need Julius Randle to do. He's having a rough shooting stretch. He's not being able to connect from downtown. Push the pace. Get easy shots. Be a guy on defense that can contribute. You have to find other ways to contribute. If your jump shot's not falling, that's my biggest worry with Julius Randle. I still think he'll have a better year with Brunson, but I think you make a great point about the Rose stats in the playoffs when Randle shot 15% from 3. I appreciate everybody that made New York Knicks Now a part of their day today. If you made it this far in the video, drop a real one in the comment section. Because look, if you're watching the show this far, what? You're a freaking real one. Drop one in the comments right now.